Now, a lot of people ask me at this point, what do I have to do to get through this class? And just a couple things. One is follow instructions. That's one of the biggest things. Now, in my years in the business world or the organizational world, we lost more money in our organizations due to people not being able to follow instructions. Also, we lost money because managers couldn't give instructions. So it's a communication thing again as we go through. So what I do is I have instructions for all the homework assignments. And if you like certainty, you're going to love this class. If you like creativity, not so much to a degree. You have creativity, but within the guidelines of the instructions. So what I have posted for you is an assignment, and it's out of the book. Now, every week when you open up the module, you will go to the assignment, and I have very strict criteria on what to do. For instance, you're going to go read chapter 1 of our textbook. Then what you're going to do is go to the back of the chapter. When you're done reading, there's 5 questions. You pick 2 questions and you answer them. The way I want you to answer them is to take the answer directly from the textbook. And then I want you to give an APA citation. We'll talk about that later. And then after you give the APA citation, I want you to take a personal example from your experience, and I want you to write that out in detail. So you're going to write a specific example. Now, the way to get a C is just to take the answer out of the book. The way to, and then do an APA, in-text citation, and a reference. The way to get a B is to take the answer out of the book, do an APA, in-text citation, and a reference, and then give an example, but general in nature. The way to get an A, which I'm sure you're all interested in, is to you take the answer out of the book. You can copy it word for word, I don't care, as long as you reference where you got it from and give credit to the author. So you take the answer out of the book, you give an APA reference, you give a reference, and then you give an answer in detail. So you're talking specifics. For example, if I was going to do the question, why study public speaking? And then in the book, the answer in the book, I can take it right out of there, is that public speaking has many advantages. You can use it to get into classes that are full. You can use the skill to get jobs. You can use the skill to get scholarships. You can use the skill to get into the universities you want to get into. You can use the job, or you can use the skill to get pay raises, to get promotions. So there's many applications to public speaking. If you think you're going to get by without public speaking sometime in your life, you're mistaken. Every job requires it. Even those coders that sit in the corner, at some point in time, they've got to present the work they're doing to the group. So that would be my example. Okay, I'm sorry, that would be what the book says. So now I would give an example. So for instance, when I was working at the Bon Marché, and I was a manager there, the boss would come up, and the boss would tap me on the shoulder and say, hey, Mattson, you need to come to our meeting we're having in 45 minutes, and I want you to present on the project. In our case, we were having a sale. And at that time it was, I had the department of furniture and electronics and televisions and all that sort of thing. And what I was doing is I had to talk about the sale and how I was going to set it up, or what kind of stock I had, and what my anticipated sales would be. So now I used the public speaking. I put together a little speech. I put the speech with the main idea and the main points, and then I gave examples of it. So when the meeting came, I stood up, I gave my presentation, and even though people thought I was talking off the top of my head, I had already practiced it a couple times in my office before I got there. So that would be how I'd answer one question to get an A. If you look on Canvas, look down there, I have a document model of it. So I have it written in the document model. It has what your paper should look like, right down to the spacing. And it also has a written description of it. So if you learn through reading, I've got that learning style. If you learn through watching, you're watching it right now, and I'll explain it in the classroom too. And if you learn by looking at pictures, I've got a model of it for you. All right, so that's what's expected. If you can follow instructions, you'll do fine with this class. But the number one thing that sinks people in this class is not keeping up with the homework. So it's got to be done, and it's got to be done on time.